What's up, everybody? This is Brad with the Daily Disney Blog Podcast. I have another episode for you guys today. And if you are watching this live over on YouTube, welcome. I'm going to try to do this more often. And no, this is not my podcast studio. I had a screaming baby upstairs who woke up from a sleep. So I am on here now. And this is going to be a regular podcast you can download just like any other one on iTunes and Stitcher and all that kind of fun stuff. But today is National Drink Wine Day or something like that. So to celebrate, we're going to be drinking out of our 20th anniversary of the food and wine. But our podcast episode today has nothing to do with food and wine. It's going to be a podcast idea that I came up with today. I think it will be a lot of fun. And this is one of those ones where I'm going to really want people to comment over on Twitter and leave comments on Libsyn and comment down on the YouTube video, all that kind of fun stuff. This is a podcast where I want to see all of you guys' opinion. This is just my opinion. So what it is going to be wishful thinking. Let's put that out there first. And these movies are not all Disney that I'm going to be talking about, but changes that I would like to see at the Great Movie Ride over time. It doesn't have to be every single movie switched out right now, but it would be kind of cool to see that attraction updated a little bit because I'm a huge fan of it. But let's be honest, a lot of the movies that are in the Great Movie Ride now are no longer even remotely relevant. They are classic movies, which is why they're in the attraction to begin with. But these are 10 of my favorites that I would like to see at some point, possibly being updated to the Great Movie Ride. I don't even think that the Great Movie Ride would be a thing these days, just for the sheer fact of how many different studios are involved. You know, they have Universal ones, they have Paramount ones. A lot of that has to be attributed to Michael Eisner, who was the CEO at the time when that park became even an idea, and his connections from all of that was why we got the movies we got. These are kind of, I kind of have them in my head a little bit, like what could be replacing what, but I'm not going to get into that really. But you could kind of see how each one kind of represents a scene in the ride that I would kind of switch it out with. So let's go with number 10. And this one isn't so much an addition as it would be just an update. But I really want to see the last scene you go into is the Wizard of Oz scene. I think it'd be really cool if they updated the scene before that with the scene where it's Mickey and Fantasia. I wish they would do that as like its own real scene, so you don't have just like a little clip of him in the wall or whatever, because the whole point of that was originally going to be the tornado scene in Wizard of Oz anyway. So just cut that out and let's get a scene with Mickey on the mountain, raising the water up. I think that'd be really kind of cool. And like I said, that one's just kind of an addition. I think it'd be really cool to see an animatronic Mickey Mouse. I'm trying to rack my brain. I don't think I've ever seen one. I could be wrong. There was one in Mickey Mouse Review, but I'm trying to think if there's ever been another Mickey Mouse animatronic. I don't think there has. So I think it'd be cool to see that. So that would be number 10. Just kind of make that its own real legitimate scene. Number 9 is a movie that I absolutely love, and I've loved it ever since I've seen it. Actually, when this movie came out, I bought the soundtrack to it, which is kind of weird, being a straight like 14-year-old or however old I was when the movie came out. Chicago. So this would be kind of the scene you could replace with the musicals now. I think this would be a cool addition because it's something that's not necessarily iconic, but I think people would recognize it, and the music's just awesome. Like that would be the whole key part of it would be the music to it, because that movie has amazing music. The other one I thought would be like Moulin Rouge or something you could put there, but I really, really like Chicago, and it would be really cool to see it in a Disney attraction. Number 8 would actually probably be a little bit more feasible, since the James Cameron, partnership with the Pandora Land of Avatar opening at Disney's Animal Kingdom in just about a year, I think. Maybe we're less than that. Oh my gosh, we're getting incredible on that. It would be Titanic. I think this one is kind of self-explanatory. You could put it in the scene where it is supposed to be, I can't think of the movie, Humphrey Bogart and what's her name. Why am I drawing a blank on this movie? I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm drawing a blank on the movie here. I'm going to have to Google this. This is really awful that I'm having to Google this. Casablanca. Good Lord. I didn't have to get all the way out. I can't believe I forgot Casablanca. Did this stop going live? Oh no, we're still going. Okay, good Lord, that scared me. I'm new to all this live streaming stuff. It didn't go anywhere. For those of you that were watching live, you had a few seconds of me panicking into the camera. So this could kind of replace the Casablanca scene. And like I said at the beginning, I don't think I'm going to get into a lot of these, but this one actually would make sense just from what's there already. If you're looking at that scene on the attraction, it is kind of behind that scrim, which is to simulate fog. So I think you could put like a piece of the ship going down into the water and having Jack and Rose animatronics on the back of it. I think it'd be kind of cool. Plus, that's a great movie. It's number 3 highest grossing film of all time. So I think it deserves sip of wine here. I think it deserves to be in that attraction because that attraction was made before the movie came out. And I think it would be a welcomed addition to that. I love that movie. I'm not even going to act like I don't. If you don't cry at that movie, something's wrong with you. And you're a horrible person if you don't cry at that movie. Not really. Number 7 is a genre that I don't think is even represented really well in the Great Movie Ride. They kind of mention it in the whole horror thing after you go through Indiana Jones. There's like a quick thing with like little mummies and stuff. It's the horror genre. It's not represented hardly at all in the Great Movie Ride. And I think putting an iconic bad guy from a horror movie would be kind of cool. My first thought was maybe putting like Jigsaw from Saw in like a big little dude on the bike, have him as an animatronic. I think that would be a good idea. But I'm thinking more along the lines of something like Freddy Krueger that's a little bit more iconic, and you could kind of get away with it because you could make it to where it's not horror, like he's not killing someone on the attraction, but something like that I think would be really a welcomed addition because it's just not represented in the movie. The Great Movie Ride, rather. Hardly need a sip of wine. I've had a rough day. Number 6 is another genre that I don't think is really represented at all in the Great Movie Ride. I'm trying to think, and I racked my brain with. I don't think it is. I racked my brain trying to think of a comedy that would be a welcome fit into the Great Movie Ride, and I couldn't really come up with anything except Mrs. Doubtfire, because it's just kind of a family-friendly film for the most part. And I think it would be recognizable enough. I also thought, like, what are you going to do? You put the Hangover characters in there? No. I don't know. I just think Miss Doubtfire is probably a safe bet for that genre. Anyone else have any suggestions for a comedy they could put into the Great Movie Ride? I have another one on my list that's kind of a comedy, but I think of it more as like an action movie later on. We'll get that. It's number 2. It's awesome. Number 5 would be James Bond. I don't know why this one didn't make it into the cut originally because I'm pretty sure that James Bond is a Paramount or MGM. Might be Paramount, but I think it's an MGM movie, but it might be Paramount. I can't remember. It's hard to keep all this crap straight. James Bond, like what an iconic movie character James Bond is. I mean, there's obviously a bunch of different versions of James Bond, but put 2 or 3 different characters in there. I put Sean Connery and Roger Moore. You got it covered. James Bond, put him in put like a cool car, show some gadgets or something. I don't know. I think it would be a no-brainer for that attraction. I'm surprised he actually didn't make it in. I remember when I was a kid, though, there was a James Bond attraction at Paramount Carowinds back when that was still Paramount Parks. And it was like he was on a train. Like I remember it was like first person, and you had like these little action FX theater seats, and they would like move and go with the thing. And I think he was like you would chase somebody on a train, and you went up a helicopter ladder. Like that's all I remember. I just remember like bits and pieces of it. So I think having a James Bond one would be really, really cool. Just having that character represented in the Great Movie Ride, because there's so many great James Bond movies, like GoldenEye. I'm just kidding. What are some classic James Bond movies? Skyfall was actually really, really good. Goldfinger, Dr. No. Well, there's a bunch of great James Bond movies. So I think having him in there would be absolutely fantastic. Moving on to number 4. This one to me is the biggest no-brainer on this list. And it's almost so obvious that I didn't even put it on here, but I think you could change out the alien scene pretty easily and put this in there. Star Wars. no brainer, right? Disney owns Lucasfilm now. Indiana Jones is already represented in there, so having these characters come to life in the Great Movie Ride would be pretty awesome. My thought would be just to kind of change the alien scene out to a scene on the Death Star and having 3 or 4 stormtroopers standing next to Darth Vader. It's pretty easy to do, and I just like I said, I think it's almost a little cliche at this point to be adding Star Wars to the Disney parks, but I think it's a good fit for the Great Movie Ride. I mean, how many great Star Wars movies are? I mean, there's 4. Yeah. I actually don't hate Revenge of the Sith. It's kind of an unpopular opinion, but I think like the last little bit of it kind of redeems the whole prequels. And I do like the first one with pod racing, but I don't want to see that in the Great Movie Ride. Just put Darth Vader in there because that's it's a creepy part of the ride anyway, and make it even better. Number 3 is one that people are going to be like, "What? How dare you? It's a Universal." I know it's Universal, but I think having the T-1000 from Terminator 2 would be awesome. Maybe have like an Arnold Schwarzenegger animatronic with like the red eye coming out would be really creepy. And I'm a huge fan of Terminator 2. And this one actually could be doable again because this is another James Cameron film. And I'm talking specifically Terminator 2. That was my favorite Terminator movie. I love Terminator 2. Who doesn't love Judgment Day? That movie's great. And just having like him on the gun, saying the classic lines, "I'll be back," all that crap. I think it'd be great. I don't know. I had to say crap. That's a little aggressive. Number 2 is something that I'm going to be 100% honest. When I was going through this list, I was trying to think of movies, obviously, that I've seen and I love. But this movie I've never actually seen, but I know the visuals enough, and that's what makes it kind of transcend popular culture, is that you recognize these characters and the specific look of the movie. And it's Ghostbusters. I know I've never seen Ghostbusters. I don't know anything about it, so I can't really elaborate on it. But with the new movie coming out that I'm not really excited for because no one seems to be excited for it that is a Ghostbusters fan. I think it would be cool. You could have, Bill Murray, animatronics, all the other characters in there, whoever they are. I can't believe I don't know anything about this, and I'm put it on my number 2. Just chasing like the ghost, or have the Michelin Man or something like that. Like I think that would be really cool. I know we get a lot of crap for never seeing Ghostbusters, but I'm okay with that. And since I can't elaborate on number 2, let's go ahead and knock out my number 1 here. And it is one that I'm surprised no one thought about as an alternative to The Wizard of Oz, because The Wizard of Oz one is it was really expensive for Disney to make. Need ice? Okay, I'll pause this. You can get some ice.
I was gonna wait till you could pause it.
This part is a live stream, so she's gonna get some ice, and you guys get some extra time looking at me to watch her get ice. It's pretty loud. I'm glad I paused it. What do you need ice for? What do you need ice for? Oh, you getting more?
We don't have any bottles on there.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, we do, but it's so in the car.
This is my life, interruptions every second of every day. It's constantly interrupted.
Did I see our beautiful kitchen?
Huh?
I said, did I see our beautiful kitchen?
No, it's in shambles. We had a flood. This is for the live viewers only. We had a flood.
Are people watching right now?
Yeah, there's a few people, not many. We had a flood the day before Thanksgiving. 2 days. 2 days before Thanksgiving, and it completely knocked out our entire kitchen. And we have been without appliances in our kitchen, so we've been having to eat out every meal since the day 2 days before Thanksgiving, including Thanksgiving dinner. And it's getting really old. And we're getting an entire new kitchen, so we're getting new cabinets, new appliances, and it was all because Lowe's screwed up and didn't put our Home Depot. I'm sorry, Lowe's. I didn't mean to slander Lowe's' name. It was Home Depot installed a dishwasher improperly, so. There's that. Let me go back here and see where I was at when I was pausing this so I can hop back on track here. So this is the beauty of the live stream, because this is what will be happening anyway, and you guys get to see it. Three, two, one. The beauty of podcasting, ladies and gentlemen. As an alternative to the Wizard of Oz sequence, because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Wizard of Oz sequence was really expensive to do. They basically had to pay for the rights by the minute, essentially, that you're in the attraction, which is why that's kind of a short scene with a great animatronic. You know, the whole it's done up crazy because it's really well done. But that is why you get that first sequence was supposed to be that fan that blows on you while Fantasia is going for whatever reason. That was going to be the tornado sequence of the Wizard of Oz, and you were going to transition from there into Oz. And it was just so expensive that Michael Eisner was like, nope, we're going to do this last part a little bit. And that's why it's that main sequence with the witch. And then you get that real quick thing at the end where you see them facing the Emerald City and all that kind of stuff. So this one it's kind of like, I would have thought, when Michael Eisner saw the price tag, he would have kind of been like, no, let's go with this. And it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard to pull off. And I'm sure it wasn't a cheap, if they had even sought this out, would have been a cheap, like super cheap alternative. But I think the visuals in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, not the Johnny Depp version, the actual Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, are just so iconic that it would have been really amazing to like go through and see that scene from the movie. I remember seeing it as a kid, and it was an old movie when I saw it as a kid for the first time, and seeing all that would have been so cool in a Disney attraction. And I hope that's an idea that they visit again at some point in the future. So like I said at the beginning of this, please go over on Twitter at Daily Disney Blog and tell me what you would like to see as a possible upgrade to the Great Movie Ride. And go over on Libsyn and comment on this episode over there to do that as well. Please rate and review the show. I know I say that every episode, but it just helps people find the show and gets us higher up on the ranking, which is awesome. So thank you guys so much for this very first live stream. And the next time I do a live stream, I will do some questions, but I gotta go to bed. I'm tired. So happy National Wine Day to everybody. And if you're listening to this, the audio version over on Libsyn or iTunes, however you get the podcast, go over and hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. You guys do that as well in the live stream. Hit subscribe so that way you get notifications every time I go live. But that is it. And I got some cool guests coming next week. So stay tuned. Hit subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher. Hit subscribe on YouTube. Just subscribe to everything. I'll see you guys later. Bye. And I'll see you guys later. Bye. Have a great night. Thank you for sticking with me and watching this. Appreciate it.